at least like 100 people will see this.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. And then
Do you do your class live or over Zoom?
So I have a class on Tuesdays in stores.
Okay.
And so anything that's like, I know this and I'm telling you this
Okay.
is online now.
Huh.
And so everything in class is more about working on
interacting.
Yeah, I build teams and stuff. So like I don't do all right. Yep. So I don't do anything. That's my whole strategy is like get people and get them to start doing things because like I don't add much value anymore.
It's so funny. I taught this class at NYU. There's this guy at NYU. I always do his class. And he doesn't do anything either. Yeah. He just has guest speakers come in every day. It's kind of genius.
So I do a few things.
Yeah, no, I'm just making fun of
But so I have entrepreneurs in residence, very young ones. Okay. So like they do stuff. Yeah. In their day to day, they're trying to build businesses. Yeah. So they're much more effective entrepreneurship teachers than me, which is I'm now Old Man River, right? Like it's very clear. And whereas 10 years ago, I don't think it was so clear that I was so much older than the students and generationally divided. Yeah. So the whole entrepreneurship thing has changed so much in 20 years that teaching it the way it was taught 20 years ago.
Yeah, it almost doesn't apply, right?
It just doesn't. Yeah. Yeah.
Even 5 years ago, probably.
No, yeah. I mean, pre-pandemic, we started to see the changes and then all of a sudden, boom, it was like here in the pandemic. And then
I would also think like AI is changing so much and
you can't give a single written assessment.
Oh, interesting.
Away from, that's why they write in class. So they still write.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right. But all copy, all strategy, you can converse with the AI.
And then you have to add to it.
So what would take 3-6 months now takes 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, that's cool.
So week 5 or 6, they should be selling things in our class.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And that whole infrastructure is there.
Smart. That's cool.
Yeah, like frozen pizza.
Yeah.
How'd you get into like?
I was into the frozen pizza business for a hot minute.
Yeah, like how did you like? Weren't you like, no, we're not selling frozen pizza?
We were really good at frozen pizza.
Yeah, I know. Like
pizza
you sold a lot
sucked.
of it.
The pizza sucked, but if the pizza hadn't sucked, it would have been a way bigger business. I think when you have an audience and a brand and that stands for something, you can an audience that's rabid. You can, if you are authentic about the product you create and you're smart about the distribution, you can make a lot of things.
What do you want to do with your life now?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously I wrote a book. I took a new job in a month, the same month, which was in hindsight quite stupid. I'm very interested in seeing if I can make something interesting happen again on the internet with Food52. And then I ultimately would like to teach, to be honest with you. Like I'm interested in that. And then I'm interested in, could I write another book? Is there something to this work thing? So I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I feel like reading your book, going back and thinking like, I mean, one, I like this is for you and this isn't for you. That was a pretty easy dichotomy. Mm-hmm. But reading the book, it's clear that like you're at least understanding the brokenness of the relationship between people and work.
Definitely.
And so like when I was, first off, you were CEO of Barstool for what, 8 years? So like,
9 years. Yeah.
9 years. So we would have had you on the podcast anyway.
Oh,
we're just
thanks.
excited you're here, right? But we got really excited when I got your book.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, because I thought it was just going to be another 200 pages of blah, blah, blah.
This is
grab
what
some
Dave
cash.
Portnoy did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I really don't care. Like, I was like, how is somebody dealing with their career like this that clearly has been successful? Mm-hmm. Do you ever sit there and go, I'm so lucky to have done all these things, and yet I want to do something greater, something else, something more redeeming? Do you ever feel guilt from that? Like sometimes I see that.
Like I'm not doing enough?
No, like shouldn't I just keep doing what I'm doing? Like,
no,
shouldn't I be happy about it? Shouldn't I be
satisfied and like just shut up and like, mail it in?
Yeah, and like,
yeah, it's annoying.
There's some kid out there trying to be like successful, and here you are successful, and now you're like, I still want to do this.
Oh, do you like it's unfair?
Yeah, like, yeah, I get that. I hear that a lot. Like, oh, I'm in this job. It's a great job to everybody else. They're trying to get this job, and I want to do something else, right? Like, there's a bit of...
I don't feel guilty for that at all. I think you're like given this one shot, and I came up from not much, and I'm like, I don't want anyone eating my dream. And I don't know what that dream is, but you should help people up along the way for sure. And you got to give as many people a chance as possible, and you got to listen to as many people as possible. But I think ultimately people are, you're capable as much as you think you are capable of. And I've always wanted...
stupid?
What's that?
What if you're stupid?
But if you care and work hard, you can actually do a lot.
I think 99, you can get to the 1% just by showing up and working hard.
Oh.
Then you get into very...
Oh, I think people who care and work hard get farther than you think.
Yeah. And then like I try to get kids to see that. Like, show up and work hard.
You just show up and work hard. I'm not brilliant.
And you'll get to here.
Yeah.
And then like
maybe a
from
little
there,
luck.
now it's talent. Now it's luck. It's all those things.
Yeah.
And so you don't feel guilty about wanting more. You feel
definitely
like
not.
This is how we should.
Why should I not want more?
I think you should. I mean, I think
everybody
a lot of
should
people
want more. And more doesn't mean money. Like more just means I get bored very easily. And when I'm bored, I'm destructive. So for me, I'm like, it's better. It's like running a puppy. Like, it's better than I'm busy. And I think most people I think that keeps you very motivated and very interesting and very sharp. I think people calcify really easily. I think what's scary about college kids right now is how calcified they are so young. Like last night I went to Wallow 267. So Wallow...
Saw that on the social media.
Saw it on social media. So Wallow, was in prison for 20 years and wrote a book about it called Armed with Good Intention, which is a good book. But anyways, he said that he got out of prison and what he found in the world was so many people in prison, which is they're just so stagnant and you're held captive either because you're insecure or you're lazy or you're just stuck in your phone all day. But the more you can just do shit and try stuff, the better off you're going to be.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Colorado, but then I grew up in New Hampshire.
My
mom went to UConn.
I heard that rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She loved it. My cousin went to UConn.
Why didn't you go to UConn?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to a big school. I don't think I was ballsy enough to want to go to school across the country or go to school at a really big school.
He went to UConn.
Did you like UConn?
I did.
Yeah.
That campus is gorgeous. It's huge.
And gets more gorgeous every day. And every time I say,
the
they put a new
thing
building
is
up
crazy.
there. Yeah.
The two coaches hate each other? Is that true?
Not the two coaches now.
Oh, because they're different coaches?
So, yeah, the men's coach.
Gino's gone or?
Gino's still there.
Okay. And then, the men's.
Men is Danny
Hurley, right? Yeah, okay.
And they're very close now.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I got a couple championship rings.
I mean, you're just probably like walking around like this.
I'm on the academic side, so you don't get those very easily on that side. But I'm pretty excited about them.
Yeah.
No, they like each other. Gino was instrumental in helping get Danny to the championship level.
Okay, well, that's great.
Having been there before, and I think they share. The women's program and men's program historically was very rivalry
because they're fighting over budget?
I'd say because they're fighting over respect.
Okay,
like
so
at the end of the day,
it's clout.
Yeah, it's clout. Like if you do this here, you got to do this here, right?
Okay,
you love. It's like two great kids competing.
Yeah.
I think this pairing of coaches, it's much easier, and the athletic director has his challenges dealing with the coaches.
Yeah,
but he does a good job of not being so head-to-head competitive as it was.
Yep. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, no, Jim Calhoun's a great guy, but he's scary.
Is he?
Yeah, dude, he's like 6'3".
Oh, really?
And he's he's intense. So one time I see him, he remembers me and is nice. The next time I see him, he yells at me.
It's like, who the fuck are you? Get out of my way.
No, that was literally it. So I like walk into Rip Hamilton's the party for his jersey retirement, and there's Tayshaun Prince, who's a Kentucky guy, and Kevin Freeman, who's from our championship team, and coach like whispers to Kevin, like, who the fuck's this guy? And I'm like, and he's like, that's David Noble. And he's like, oh, that's David Noble. And so like, I don't know if he's pretending that he doesn't know me or what he's doing, but he's just awesome.
Okay, that's great.
So like so before I knew anything about basketball, I knew about Jim Calhoun.
Okay.
Not one dime back, right? Like the student asked him, you're the highest paid person in the state, budget tough, are you going to take a pay cut too? And he was like, not one
Absolutely
dime back,
not.
fuck you.
Okay.
And he went off on the student. It's like, it's an all-time greatest thing.
Okay.
So when my parents would give me money or my, like cash or this, and that is their change, not one dime back.
Okay, got it.
Right? If you gave me a 50 and it was $5, I'm keeping 45.
Yeah, 100%.
And if it was 10 and it was 5, I'm keeping 5. So
that's smart.
So he was, and being from Needham, Mass, and being
Needham people
Irish,
are tough.
and being Irish, and my dad really loved him.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's pretty cool to have him in my like cell phone.
Absolutely.
But sometimes he knows me, sometimes he doesn't.
Well, that's all right.
He knows my name.
All right, that's fine. That counts.
So,
that counts.
For sure. So we got involved in name, image, and likeness, and that's how I moved into that space. And you learn a lot more about athletics. It's a different world than academics. I think it's one of the biggest businesses going.
1 bajillion%.
Yeah. I'm not allowed on those sports betting apps.
Really? Why?
Because I work for...
because you work for an institution.
Yeah, for not just the institution, but I work with like players that have games going on.
That's interesting.
So there's a question. I wanted to play... I like horse racing as well. And I was like, I'm going to go play in it. And like I went to download it, and it says, everyone always checks they can do
whatever,
it.
Blah, blah, blah.
I was like, it says, are you allowed to? And, it's like, am I allowed to do this? And they're like, no. So I've never been
I would never have guessed that.
Do you think that's a good business?
What, betting?
Betting.
No.
Yeah. Why?
Well, it looked like it was going to be a great business, right? Yeah. Like all great industries like the internet, it's like the hype and AI now, and certainly betting, like the hype at, after PASPA was repealed, like 2019, 2020, it looked like it was going to be huge because the TAM, of course, Florida, of course, Texas, of course, California. It's a highly engaging business. It creates a rabid high level of engagement, but the margin is so bad. It's just not, it's a low margin business. So all the big, gambling companies, they've got to find ways to get you to bet on other stuff that's higher margin for them. So in and of itself, it's not, it's a hard business to make money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
if you look at how much money you make from a casino versus how much margin you make from a casino versus how much margin you're making on a sports betting app, it's like no comparison.
Would you do it differently?
What?
Knowing now what you knew.
It's hard to say. I wouldn't have changed anything. I mean, Barstool was a crazy ride.
Not joining Barstool, but like looking at the betting specifically.
The betting.
Like it seemed like that could have been a prison. You guys probably got out of it, but it could have been a prison. Keeping with our theme.
Totally. Yeah. I don't know that we had another way out. So to be honest with you, I don't think I would have done anything differently. I think if we hadn't joined up with Penn, the likelihood is we would have joined up with someone else. It would have been FanDuel or DraftKings. Or we would have still been waiting to sell. And I think in the internet, at least in my world, the companies that didn't sell when they should have and could have are the companies that are like limping along and everyone's tired 10 years later. And, I don't think we wanted that.
You didn't want to be Yahoo?
Yeah, no, or BuzzFeed or, any of those guys.
Docker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So immediately after you said like, I'll do it, I was like, we should call AJ and be like, hey, would you do the podcast too? Mm-hmm. And he was like, absolutely.
Yeah, why not?
And I was like, this is too good. But were you a good CEO?
At Barstool? It was my first CEO job, so I would
say
I would think I was probably terrible and awesome at it.
Yeah,
and I think I got better better at it over time.
And like, then did you see like it starts to decline again? Because that's me. Like I'm terrible, so I have to work incredibly hard, and then I'm really good, and then I'm like, Oh
no, I don't have the I have the. I had to learn. I think I really gave Barstool my all, and I learned. You know, we always joke like Barstool's like dog years, so it was like dog years on my life, but I think I realized from Barstool where and when I was the best CEO, and it was in the earliest growth stage. Mm-hmm. And so that for me was like, okay, I want to go do more of that.
Really?
What makes a good CEO at Barstool versus another company? Like, is there a difference?
Thick skin and stamina. Just a willingness to fail and, willingness to try everything and to be nimble, like just to be like, okay, great, we're going to do this.
And when you read the book, it really comes out that that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
And you were energized by and excited by. And I framed the question up as like, were you a good CEO? Because it's interesting when you stop in it's really hard in real time. Mm-hmm. But in retrospect, you get that chance to think like, oh, I would do this differently. There's all kinds of things I would do differently, but I wouldn't go back and change it.
Definitely. I'm the same. I'm like, you can't go back and change anything, and you shouldn't. Obviously, you can't, so it doesn't matter. But I did learn, I think I was the best in probably my second through seventh year of being a CEO. I think by after the Penn acquisition, the CEO, it wasn't really a CEO job anymore. Right. We were part of a conglomerate, which I was not great at that. So I think it's all kind of a journey. And
when you read the book, you're really positive about Peter and like
Sheridan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like, so, I have some friends in the business, and I'm like, well, it looks like that's a good exit strategy.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what was it about working for him as opposed to like a Penn?
What I realized after we sold the company was that I think people forget, like I had spent a lot of time at very big companies. I worked at Microsoft, I worked at Yahoo, I worked at AOL, I worked as part of the Demand Media IPO. They were big companies, and it wasn't until after the acquisition it dawned on me that like the reason I was not at a job more than 24 months prior to Barstool was that I hated big companies.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't fulfilling to me. It wasn't exhilarating enough. There wasn't enough adrenaline. There wasn't enough broken and to fix. And I do think there is a certain caliber and character of person that's better at running big things. And they're more consistent. They're more measured, I think. They're more, you're moving the Titanic. I am not like that. I'm like, let's go. Let's make a bunch of stuff and see where it goes. I think.
Have you ever tried to break things in those big places?
Yes, and I think you just get resistance in big places
to
do anything. And that's what's hard for me.
I built an entrepreneurship institute at a university. Yeah. I know exactly. Yeah. Like I bang. Can you imagine? So the folks at UConn told me it was illegal to help student athletes with name, image, and likeness.
Okay.
And I kept saying, well,
why? Yeah.
I happen to have gone to law school. Yeah. Would you show me these
I
laws?
Can read.
Yeah. And finally they did after me yelling and screaming at enough people. And it was a rule. It wasn't a law. It was a rule.
Huh. Okay, there's a big difference.
Who makes this rule? Forget that there's an exception in the rule for me to do this, but who makes the rule? We make the rule. Okay, so how about we make a new rule right now? And I won that battle, and then everybody hates you.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Yeah. And then everything thereafter
is
like
poison.
resistance.
Yeah.
And so, but there's something really exciting about when you break it on the big side.
There's something great about breaking it, but the punishment that you're going to endure for the end of time it's just a lot of politics. Like it's just it's a politicking thing.
I'm a politician.
You 100%.
Right.
Like I watched the debate, I don't know if you watched the debate last night, but like
no, I literally
they don't
fell
answer. Nobody answers any question. The substantive material is irrelevant. It's all the posturing and positioning to get the point. Like, oh, I won the point. It actually, I was thinking about the debate. I'm like, it's just like watching a game. Like you got one team and you got another team. It's just like watching sports. I didn't love the politicking. And that's why I liked, to your question, that's why I like the Chernin guys, is I had I made them a lot of money. They were a known entity to me. I've worked with a lot of really brutal VCs where they get all up in your business and you're like, I just want to build and like get out of my hair. And they had made similar bets that could follow, nothing will follow the Barstool trajectory, but could follow interesting trajectories.
Mm-hmm. Barstool is a cultural behemoth. Mm-hmm. Changed a lot of things. Mm-hmm. People now have become so polarized across that. Mm-hmm. They hate it. They love it. Is that environment the attractive environment where it's that dynamic and being, because like Food52.
Yeah, people don't love it or hate it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so do you notice the difference between
I think
two?
when people love you and hate you, it's electric. And you can grow really, really fast and you can build really, really strong. When people are on you, it's way slower and way softer.
I watch Food52's content. I'm like, that's really good content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you watch Barstool content, you're like, I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
Can't believe he said that.
I believe they say it because like I think it's intentional, right?
Mm-hmm,
like,
of course.
So we always laugh like, I'm just here trying to get fired. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. And because the thing that they fire me for, I'm going to sue them.
Yeah,
and then
it's
this,
the whole
and
thing.
Then,
yeah.
And like the whole thing just blows up, right? Like that's our joke, but it's not really a joke.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if it happened, that's what you play, right? Yeah. And like one of the things that I thought was so genius was Dave's willingness to fight.
Definitely. Dave is an incredible fighter.
And I just went through a thing where I listened to other people going for a CEO mm-hmm. role and didn't punch because they said, well, the thing about you is you shouldn't be punching. Mm. And I was like, I listened. And lo and behold, I'm sitting here talking to you mm-hmm. instead of running around doing that job, mm-hmm. right? And so whether you like Dave or don't like, he went to Michigan, so I hate him. Okay. So I'll put it out there. Like everybody that went to Michigan forever, I hate people? All of them. Yeah, okay. All of them.
Okay.
I'm from Woonsocket, Rhode Island, so like Massville's not a thing. Like they're the same as us.
Yeah.
They're just
Rhode Island.
We just know
weird.
We know our differences, and everybody else doesn't. Yeah. So, but. Going to Michigan's unforgivable. And acting like you're a Boston guy and having come from Swampscott is like, I worked for a funeral home, so I went up there one time and I went to the wrong house in the middle of the night to pick up a dead body in Swampscott. And that was definitely an interesting thing.
Did you like working for a funeral home?
I've lived in a funeral home. My family's been in the funeral business since 34.
Are you from a funeral home company?
Yeah, my mother is.
Or from a family.
My mother is a funeral director. My sister is taking over the business. Okay. And
who's the embalmer?
Everybody has.
Everybody?
Yeah. Huh. But my mother and now my sister, and yeah.
They must be great, like with people.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. So you
came around and they're like, no way.
No, so like I went to law school and afterwards I was like, oh, I want to get 10 of these and we'll roll it up and do this and do that. And my mother's like, no, go
I'm just
away.
Going to have our...
we have this space.
Yeah, we're part of the community. It's this,
this is local. Yeah, and so none of the big chains have come into our thing. But my mother's 3x'd her business over 30 years, which in the funeral business, that's not growth, right? They're just really, really good at it because they understand the human element of it.
100%. Yeah.
And like if you want the cheapest funeral, go somewhere else.
Yeah, we're not your people.
We're not your people. Yeah. And it's just that transparent. It's not that there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah, no, it's like, cool, you want a cheap funeral? That's cool.
But, so I grew up with I grew up 13 years old. I was working in that business.
Okay, that's cool.
So in college, I did it in Boston, and so that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so I know Swampscott. I know
I know
Lynn City of Sin, right?
Yeah.
No, you never come out the way you went in.
Yeah.
And so like I'm like, Swampscott's not Lynn.
Yeah. No, it's not.
But he plays better in Lynn than Swampscott.
Oh no, not anymore.
Yeah.
He plays everywhere.
Yeah. But so that's my take. But that fighting piece is where
you have to be able to fight. I think everything is so. Look, we're in a time of identity politics and attention, and if you want attention, you have to have an opinion. And when you have an opinion, then you're going to be assigned an identity, and that is going to involve fighting. Like that's just the way the world works now.
Why do you think the politicians are so afraid of that fight, though?
But do you think they are?
Yeah, I think they are. I think Trump isn't afraid of it, but I think Kamala has. I think I said that right. Is that the?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So I think she's not afraid. Like she sees
but
that's her only
chance. She's clearly been. Well, she's
better than Joe Biden was, right?
Oh my God, times a billion. But like, she clearly got coached up to fight
last night. Yeah,
definitely. Like she's been. I think what's interesting is he created such a storm in politics just because he was so bombastic and he just didn't give a shit about any rules. And he ran his own game and all he thought about was his cult. And
isn't that business today?
That's media today. You know, that's business today. That's media today, 100%.
Isn't it? Every business is a media business.
Everyone is a media business. Like there you go. The media business is everything.
You can come advocate for me at the university.
Yeah, 100%.
We need to change all of what we do.
Everything is transparent now. Everything is content. And the process and the story, all anybody wants is the story behind the story.
Why do you think CEOs are afraid to take accountability for what they do? For what their company does?
Big CEOs?
Yeah.
Because they're politicians.
Yeah. That's because it comes down. Like the skill that will get you.
Yeah, they want the next job. They're like, hey, that's why I think, founder CEOs are really interesting. I like founder CEOs. I'm on the board of Axon. Their CEO is, I think, one of the best founder CEOs out there. When you look at their stock, I think it shows. But I think it's just the concept. In other cases, I think CEOs are just, look, a CEO tenure is fairly short. Not as short as an athlete, but it's fairly short. Not as short as a CMO. That's even shorter. But
CMO is totally broken.
CMOs are. There's not going to be a CMO anymore. I don't think. I think marketing is so porous. It's just in everything. But in most cases, I think CEOs are like, how am I going to get my next gig? And am I going to get my stock that I can't fuck it up enough so I don't get my stock.
How do you win when your goal is not to fuck it up to get your stock?
But see, that's my thing. It's like, I don't think you win. Then you become a terrible leader. And you don't have a vision and nobody's willing to follow you and you're not fallible. Because everyone is human. Everybody screws up. And if you're refusing to screw up or look bad, it means that you're assigning blame to someone else for your failures, which is bad leadership, in my opinion.
I try to assign blame for all of my failures
to everybody
externally.
Else.
Yeah. I'm like, I need like everything wrong with the show blind is Chris's fault.
Your fault,
Chris is fucking, it's like he screws it up.
Is that true?
I'll gladly take it as part of the job description. It's unwritten. It's
It's just like, take the blame.
I never blame him.
No.
Yeah. In fact, he's got to go through and edit the whole thing so I don't sound like a babbling idiot.
Oh, really?
Right, yeah. So it's like a hard job, yeah.
He only jokingly blames me, which is why it's okay, because otherwise I'd fight him.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. He wouldn't fight me. No, I think that's a real miss. Like leadership today across the board is, and we see it and we know it.
Definitely. You smell it. You can.
Why weren't you more visible at Barstool?
Oh, I think I was pretty visible.
I agree with that. What do you mean by that?
I don't think so. I think
maybe you were more visible to business weirdos. I think he means more so from people.
Because I'm not funny. I'm not interesting to a stoolie, I don't think. And that's a good thing. I shouldn't be. You know what I mean?
Right, that's what I'm asking.
I don't think I'm interesting to stoolies. I think stoolies either felt like I was ruining the business by growing it, or they loved me because I protected these guys. I think the business people were more interested because we were pretty transparent about how we were running the business, and I I think that's the other thing. You're seeing the beginning of the changes where CEOs are forced to, the story of the CEO's journey at the company is becoming more, you see it more and more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was new at the time. Like it was the first time you were seeing that next level of growth from something that was that grassroots.
Definitely. And I think you don't often see women doing it.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I by the way, I'm a civil rights,
An advocate?
No. I don't have my phone.
I'm waiting.
I'm like a civil rights abuser, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
like how?
Yeah. Well,
What's that even mean?
Like I just got my first real good federal civil rights complaint today.
Oh, you did? What'd you do?
I had the audacity to build a first year, I called it Freshman Female Founders Program.
Okay,
and
FFF?
support young, F3.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was
That's
easy.
wrong?
Yeah, well, first off, I got in trouble with all the really liberal people about using the word freshman because that's no longer allowed.
Oh, you can't say that?
You cannot say that. Except when you go to the athletics website and see where they're classified, then they're all freshmen. But at the university, you can't say that. You cannot say freshman.
Anymore.
It's the BS.
For real life in college, you can't say freshman anymore.
You can't put it on the things.
Like on paper.
Yeah, like in the digital. It's all digital now, but you can't write it on your marketing stuff and your website and that.
Oh,
you're not supposed.
So what are they?
First year.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
okay,
I kept the F there, right?
Yeah, okay, fine.
All right,
so that was okay. That worked.
At first, I was like, go away. And then I quietly changed it later.
Okay.
But you can't. So Title IX, if you receive federal funding, you can't have single sex programs, according to them, that provide support.
Really? Even if it's for women?
Especially if it's for women. Because there's a whole...
Wow.
I'm really proud
so
that
when you write
I've destroyed all these men's civil rights.
Yeah, 100%. You're just repressing them.
And that's why my program is 50% women. There's no major F1, no major Division I university, R1, Research One institution that has an entrepreneurship program with 50% women.
That's cool.
No, their 20% is a big number of women in programs. And mine's even because I worked at it.
Huh.
So
wait,
now I'm being
can you say you guys?
Yeah,
you probably can't say that.
Probably not. I mean, you could probably there's really not a word that you can use, and then it changes so fast. So my strategy is just to ignore that.
Yeah, 100%.
And so then I'm an idiot and blame me.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh. That's interesting.
But yeah, somebody from University of Michigan on the thing filed a civil rights complaint from a press article.
Oh, they do that to other schools?
Yeah, they just go around looking for these things and then they sue you.
Oh, that's so funny. It's like patent trolls.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are. They're civil rights. So he's like a right-wing civil rights troll.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then, wait till the left ones get.
They're
They're really going to hate me, on the left wing.
It's so funny what's happening in education. It's such a mess.
Yeah, so you can't actually do anything or teach
100%.
anything.
Yeah.
So
you can't, God forbid you provoke anyone.
I try to every day, and that's why they like me. The students,
of course.
Not anybody else.
Of course.
Yeah. So this is my first civil rights violation. I guess
I'm
a violator.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. But I don't think there are many leaders. I just don't see them. I look around for leaders and I don't see them in the world because it doesn't pay to be a leader.
Well, it's just like it doesn't pay to be a politician. I think that I think the pandemic hurt leadership in a way because everything became over Zoom and no one became accountable. It's like it allowed for this deference of accountability. I see it at work with managers. I think people have absolutely gone bananas and cannot manage people anymore. The dearth of management skills, which are leadership skills, it's the same thing, is really, really shocking.
Well, you manage not to lose.
100%. You manage for your own ego. So it's all about or the negatives of it are people just don't want to look bad. So that's what you're managing to. And then the second is just the willingness to take risk, I think is gone a little bit. Just the comfort level with risk taking is.
Do you think it was there and it's gone? Or do you think it's more apparent now that it's not there? Because like I feel like we could back up 20 years and probably have that same conversation.
Well, I think the pandemic, just having people not be in person, changed something. At least in my world, like just the ability to hide behind a screen. I do think that's changed a lot. The other thing I think has changed a lot is that I just don't think people are as resilient. Like people are not used to being bored. They're not used to getting feedback. Feedback in my world is a nightmare. So nobody wants feedback. It's feed forward. Do you know this?
I don't know what feed forward means, but I know what it's like to constructively criticize someone, and they sit there and they look at it like I'm telling them they're a horrible person.
Definitely.
And I'm like, no, you're really,
just giving you some feedback.
You're really, really good. You want to be a little bit better?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't give feedback is tough now.
What do you want Food52 to be?
Oh, I want it to be like the most interesting company in food, home, lifestyle media.
What do you think is the first step to getting to that from here?
I think it's a risk. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm intent on doing it and eager to do it. I think the first step, when I went to Barstool Sports, there was nothing but a lot of opinions and some pretty good writers and a fearlessness. But there was no scaffolding. There was nothing to build. Like there was nothing that had to be taken down or changed. Just nothing existed, which was the greatest luxury of my career. Like it was amazing. Food52, I'm coming into existing scaffolding that really doesn't work. So it's the taking down of what's been built over 10 plus years and trying to rebuild something else. And it's way harder. It's much harder than I anticipated going into it.
It's a great market.
It's an awesome market,
right?
It's a huge market.
I don't think there's a bigger market.
There's not a bigger consumer group, and there's not a bigger market.
I'm like, how do you do this where you drive this change? Because there's also probably food is messed up in and of itself.
Yeah, like food media is messed up. You look at what's happening with TikTok and you know the democratization of media, where everybody's a chef, everybody's personality.
I eat hot dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I do.
Do you like hot dogs?
Yeah, we did. So we did. Oh, yeah. You walked into that one. We did.
You are funny. You said you were funny.
We did the worldwide weenie tour.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How was it?
He's my cameraman. We got it all on video now, and we have to get an editor. But
that's
I don't know that's on the agenda today to find out where the hard drive is. But
okay.
We did like 30 small business. So Frank the Tank from Barstool, he's like rating hot dogs, and I'm like, what? It's like. Come on, like they're all good. We know that. So like, let's go to some of the businesses and talk to the owners.
Okay.
And so we went around, we talked to the owners. What we found was like every one of those places that's been here forever has customers that have been there forever.
Okay.
And like the stories about the role of the hot dog and people's life, it was ridiculous.
That's cool. All right, that's cool.
And it was really just a joke for us. Like,
okay, you're just like,
get outside of the studio.
Do something.
How do you do it outside of the studio? You're riding the ferry to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm able to watch you go back and forth from my window.
Yeah.
And like, it's not creepy at all. But, but yeah, so for us, it was like, oh, what do you want to do? And I have a buddy with a hot dog page that he never made big.
Huh.
And I'm like, why don't you do this and do that?
Yeah.
And like people you're
follow
funny.
You.
And he's like, it's work. That was
okay.
And so I was like, all right, well, let's go on a tour.
Okay, that's
so
so
we
fun.
did our first tour.
That's
it was
fun.
I had fun.
Great.
You know, and this summer hot dogs were big apparently. Like,
really?
It was everywhere. So
I think food's interesting because there's so many types, and the people are deeply passionate, like not just hot dogs, because hot dogs, it's also about where you're from and what neighborhood and the
what you put on your hot dog, what's
and
in your hot dog.
Vegans are passionate. Noodle people are passionate. Italians are passionate. Jewish people are passionate. So like food is very cultural, which I think is very interesting. And there's a lot of stories and topics to be had. And then when you think about the occasions for food, that's a big retail experience, right? Like you got plates, you got cups, you got stuff to make stuff, you got stuff to clean stuff, you got stuff to organize stuff. So
store stuff, keep
stuff,
it cool,
exactly.
Keep it warm.
Exactly.
No, the market size is just like, because we'll talk to a bunch of people. It's like, if you want to be a creator, what do? Go be a food creator.
100%.
Like the monetization,
third biggest category on TikTok. 100%.
Which and it's probably the number one for money.
Definitely.
Right. So there's
beauty probably. Maybe not beauty. Yeah. I don't know. Beauty, I would say Stanley thermoses, and then food. It's true.
We got a thermos company, Drink Luma.
Okay.
Drinkluma.xyz
okay.
is the website. He gets the water clean.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know that people really care about clean water.
Oh, I think they do. Have you heard about the Starbucks water?
No.
Okay. So I was in Arizona, and Joyce, the secretary or the assistant at Axon, walked in with like a venti water. And she was like, I was like, Joyce, who gets water from Starbucks? Yeah. And Joyce was like, anybody who knows what they're doing gets water from Starbucks. I guess that Starbucks wants their coffee to be consistent across the country, so they filter the shit out of this. Right. And it's like the most filtered, effervescent water ever. And they give it to you for free. And it actually tastes, you got to try it. It tastes really good.
I'm going to try it. But like his water bottle has a UV ray that cleans the water.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm like,
does it taste better? Has anyone done a taste test?
I
hate water.
I think it ends up tasting worse. Like the better that the water gets,
it's like the New York City water tastes better.
You get used to whatever the pollutants are, and you're like, I like those.
Yeah.
You like the pollutants.
Yeah.
I don't know that Jaden would agree with you on that, but in America, like at this point, I'm like, I've been telling him it's a bad idea. I'm like, this is a bad idea. And he's been building the company. And I can't wait till he proves me wrong. Okay, and he's like sells his company for $150 million. And I'm like,
you get like
I'm the idiot
$5.
again,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
No, I don't get anything. I just helped him. He's a good kid. But this idea, and how much money we spend on bottled water.
Oh, 100%.
Water containers, all those Stanley things.
It's crazy.
And you're like, this is bonkers. Like I used to sit there with the hose, drinking out of the hose.
Like remember the fountain? Like there'd be gum on it and you like didn't care. You just put your mouth on it anyways.
Except I'm from Rhode Island, so we had a bubbler.
Oh, you had a bubbler.
Yeah,
that's
it's a bubbler.
The thing?
Yeah, that's the thing you drink out of. Fountain is the thing with like, in front of the Bellagio.
Okay,
in the park.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, exactly.
It's crazy.
You wouldn't think twice. You wouldn't have. Of course. And now it's like you hold the thing under it and it's 100%. Like telling you how much you're saving the world.
Yeah. Yes. I just used one of those the other day. Yeah. Water's a big business.
It's one of the biggest. And so food is part of, but it's just a subset of food.
Yeah.
And like I see the return that probably attracted you when
definitely.
This came
like if we could do something like this, could be big.
Yeah, and you don't have to move it that much. You just
don't have to move it that much. I have to move it a little bit, and then I have to fix the bottom. The underneath of it is. I mean, you probably see this with if the world is changing so fast and technology is changing so fast. If you don't keep up with your technology and you don't have people who know what the heck they're doing, it's real painful to unwind.
They've become uneducatable.
You become rigid,
and that's the calcification you're talking about. And so they'll talk about students being native digital, but not having the basic skill set technologically to live and work. I see that all the time, and I'm like, how can you go to school and not be learning about this stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
And trying and that's what we tried to develop was like a sandbox where you can fuck everything up. And by the way, you're here.
You're safe. Yeah.
By the way,
it's smart.
Every time you fall down and skin your knees here, it's like no big deal.
Yeah,
you're going to graduate.
There's a first aid kit. Yeah, it's fine.
That's it.
That's smart.
And so, and then with women, what you do is you just help them up. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Men, you're like, get up. And like women, you help them up.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how you get 50%. Yeah.
Until the women start to help the men up and it works out.
They push them down. Yeah. No, but that's really, I think, the other piece about entrepreneurship that I think people miss is they think you have to be the founder. And like realistically, the number 2, 3, and 4 hire is incredibly important.
Definitely.
And so like some people are number 2s.
Definitely. I'm a number 2 as a person.
How can you be number 2? You're the CEO.
I know, but as DNA wise, I didn't, you don't have to be number 1. Like the whole magic of Barstool Sports was Dave could be the alpha. I don't care. I was like, that's more business. That's more opportunity. I think the obsession with I'm the founder is just, it's such a lame ego play in a way. Like, who cares? You know, I was part of the founding team of blank, which is also what you can say if you need the ego stroke on it. I think there's no point in having an ego as an entrepreneur because 90% of the time you're going to fail. Probably you would know better, more than me, higher than that, 96%. So you're going to look like a loser regardless. So why have an ego?
So now what?
So then just be part of the team, get on the bus, and it's like Sheryl Sandberg going to Google. Do you know that story?
No,
so Sheryl Sandberg talks to Eric Schmidt, and when she was working in Washington, I don't know where she was working, but Eric Schmidt was trying to hire her to work at Google. And Sheryl was like, but what's my title and what's my role and what's my job? And Eric Schmidt was like, you fucking idiot, just get on the bus. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter. You're going to get equity. And it made her, obviously tremendously successful. She obviously did good things, but it doesn't, just get on the bus. And try to get on the right bus, and you're going to get on some wrong buses first.
Knowing when to get off the wrong bus doesn't hurt.
Definitely.
I mean, Atu and Eric Schmidt are like, they're back alley brawling these days.
Who? You two?
Yeah.
You don't say much.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Did you watch the Stanford thing?
Yeah, it is what it is. He said it. Okay. It's probably true.
What? The Google people? You work for Google?
No. We're not smart enough for that. I
don't think it was wrong that he said it. Do you? I mean, it's kind of rude, but...
That's not why they're beefing.
You're the former CEO, so if you're like, people are fucking off, it's not a good look. I think that's what people are like, dude, like, why are you kicking us when we're down? You know what I mean? Like,
1 billion % agree with
OpenAI is
you.
already fucking light years ahead of the competition, and now you want to like go say we're fucking off? It's just like, dude.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
It was a dick thing to do.
Yeah, you just didn't need to say that.
Yeah, it was a dick move. I agree. Okay.
My unnamed friends that know him don't like him.
I'm sure he's a total asshole.
Yeah.
20 billion is what he's worth. So
20 billion, yeah.
Yeah.
That's on paper too. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
That's not kind of what he hid. So there's a guy that worked for the technology department in the government, and I was like, and he was drunk one night, and I was driving him home, and he started telling me like the 5 most horrible people on planet Earth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you remember who they are?
Yeah. I mean, you know all their names, and Eric beat out Elon.
Really?
In
his assessment in the Mount Rushmore of like
horrible,
tech assholes,
like people trying to destroy the world. In his opinion, now he was on the Democratic side, and he was from the Obama administration, so that was,
he had some bias,
but he's also a great guy, and he's very old, so he says whatever he wants.
I like people like that.
That was his take. Is like these people are really, really horrible, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, horrible people are out there, good people are out there.
Yeah.
It all evens out. Like, it's sort of like,
I think have success at a lot of the levels that those people have had, I think that proportionately there's probably more horrible people that are, like Warren Buffett is such an anomaly. You know what I mean? He's so nice.
He's kind of like I bet there's somewhere in that thing where he's like the worst person in the world. It's just
you almost hope so.
Right. Because otherwise, fuck us, right? Like, what are we doing? If Warren Buffett is as good. So
Warren Buffett is that nice, what are we doing?
Yeah. And maybe it was just like Charlie, his alter ego. Maybe Charlie wasn't
Charlie
real.
got all the digs. Yeah. Charlie.
He has this
Charlie was
dorm,
a bot.
Yeah, he has a dorm at UC Santa Barbara that Charlie designed and like paid for.
Charlie does?
Yeah, well, he's dead now, but I mean, he designed it, and it's like,
oh, that's cool.
And it's like no windows, so it forces you out of the dorm room. It's like it's taking all this science and money and being like, if you could do it right, this is how you do it.
Oh, interesting.
For the kids.
Yeah.
And man, did they hate it.
Oh, interesting.
Now, maybe they have a better life, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And that was his point. But yeah, maybe it was Charlie. Like maybe he's like, all right, I'm a nice guy, and
Charlie
I need
was
that
foil.
guy.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I don't know. Like when I hear George Soros is like trying to take over the world and like the magician, I'm like, My interaction with most of these people is that they're so incredibly self-centered that they could never conspiracy up the whole thing, right? And
I don't know.
It's just too much.
I don't know.
The government doesn't work. You can't get the government to do anything.
Yeah, but then I think private sector people just do it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't push, but it just, I don't know. They're not creating wars. Except in like Colombia. Yeah. And there was I met a guy and when I was at University of Alabama and they said, oh, he's a big deal. I'm like, all right, cool. So like Google him, you can't find anything about him.
Oh, so
except he's like really rich.
Deal.
Yeah. And then like you start digging into his company and he has like a private army in South America.
Ooh,
and like
CIA
I was like, that guy was pretty cool. But overall, it's just like people really are greedy. That's what I see. And I see a lot of money on transactions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a tremendous amount of money on value creation.
Yeah.
And
that's probably right.
Yeah. And so the money gets gobbled up in the transactions.
Yeah.
You got to have the next transaction.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's one of the interesting things about what Peter's done at Sherman is like there's actual value creation in his companies.
Definitely.
And that's probably why he's outperformed media upside down.
Definitely.
I guess Netflix is doing good, but besides that, media is down.
Oh, media's deeply challenged and flawed.
Is it just the business model or is it more than that?
It's the distribution model and then the business model that follows it.
Last week we had a guest.
Except for live sports. Live sports is a gift that keeps on giving, especially college.
And yet they'll try to figure out how to screw it up.
100. I mean, it's a miracle. It's amazing. But it is an amazing business.
They can't,
despite all the challenges.
The NCAA is trying to settle a lawsuit for $2.3 billion, $2.4 billion that they don't have in-house versus NCAA. And I'm like, well, if you were a Chinese restaurant, you just go out of business and open up with a different name tomorrow, right?
100%.
Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Why? And they're going to move all the costs onto the smaller schools, right? Like that's as much as you can
push out.
Yep. And so their greed is unmatched right now. But college sports is something else. As it's now professionalized, and that's where we're at. Mm-hmm. Do you think people still care as much
about college sports?
Yeah.
I think.
Do you think the next 10 years?
I don't know about in 10 years.
Yeah.
I think college is getting challenged. Like I do think at Barstool, we helped create the aura of a big school, the party life of a big school. I think we marketed the heck out of that. And I do think people call game day and the rivalries. Like I do think the loyalty and spirit and the booster world and the alumni of universities matter. I think people are just becoming more apathetic, though, and everything is going to fight against what's on your screen.
Were you caught up in the sophomoric stuff, or were you just like, as a CEO, whatever?
Yeah, you just go do your stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So
except when I had to deal with it, but I was like,
Yeah, you weren't trying to go to the game this weekend.
No. I went to one show at Ohio State. Well, that's not true. In the beginning, I went to everything. And then in the midpoint, I went to half the things. And by the end, I went once a season.
Do you think Barstool, under your leadership, was the best at getting value out of failure?
I think Barstool was just...
Because you guys tried a lot of shit that failed.
Yeah, it's we just were trying shit all the time.
It just kept building on it.
It was the pace of trying. We were volume shooters. That is a volume shooting business.
You're like my buddy James Brown. Hit on 500 girls.
Yeah.
You find one.
Yeah, 100%. Just like volume shooting.
It's a shotgun approach.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you left value when you failed. Like one of the things that I looked at it was like,
we always took failure and we made, look at ESPN fired us, right? So we had a show on ESPN. It lasted one night, Van Talk. It was pretty devastating, I would say, to Big Cat and PFT and the personalities. But we then turned that into a massive media story about this little upstart sports blog that got fired by ESPN. And that's one of Dave's biggest gifts. Is Dave is a master at turning a story.
He sees the story. He sees the moves.
He sees the story always.
Failure is momentum, right? And
failure's it's just part of the story. Like, why did you fail? What'd they do?
And with Barstool, the more of them that accrued, it just kept.
Because remember, everything was so polar. Like, why did you fail? Did somebody else kill you? Like,
That, and also like, okay, there's all these failures, but we're still here and continuing to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the failure wasn't. We didn't go home and like sulk and like, oh, we should never have tried. It was like, fuck it, what are we doing next? Like,
right.
So that's like, I think for entrepreneurs,
I love that feeling.
That's such a great feeling.
And like, we have 3,800 units of a game called Roast Me.
Okay.
By we, I mean them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And and in your
actually fun story. We sent Portnoy a box, and he opened it when he was doing the unboxing things,
which was genius. The unboxing was great.
That
was a great failure story. He packed it wrong, so Portnoy looked at it and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then he saw it.
You messed it up. You messed it up. Reading the cards. So Portnoy would have been the greatest at reading the cards and throwing them at people. Yeah. So like the good thing that we did do with that is we helped them get a lawyer early on, because they would have got, I forget the guy that,
completely.
Yeah, completely stolen.
We got to keep the name. Other games would steal our content
IP,
from the game.
Yeah.
But not answer the internet, by the way. So I appreciate that. Yeah. They have a game, and it's much more successful because they had an awesome series built around it, which
that was
the
a good
way
idea.
to do that.
Yeah.
And so the internet was awesome.
Okay.
And so and it's like, and we the other day I was like, what's going on? And like, oh, we're bringing. So what we're gonna do with our show, one of the things we're gonna do is bring in, like, this is Bantam, Connecticut, like,
okay.
So like all the T-shirts, all the stuff, I'll just bring it all in.
100%.
Right, like just bring it in. Like this startup, Ned's underwear, better for balls underwear.
Great.
Organic underwear.
Great.
Like bring it all in. It's all fun. It's all content. They're all D2C products.
Story.
And then like we'll set up the store attached to this, and like we'll put his stuff on it. We'll put their stuff.
Smart.
So, because like who says you can't have a department store on the internet?
100%.
So we're like, who cares? And who cares if
Nobody
you sell
cares.
10 units? They'll have $200
day.
that they didn't have.
Yeah.
They've already spent it.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
That's one of the things we're trying to do, and we're trying to teach that to kids, that you can just keep going.
Yeah, just keep trying.
Right. And like the fact that you did something in the first place sets you apart
100%,
from everybody else.
100%.
Where do you want, again, we'll go full circle now, because I think we're
almost at time.
We're almost out of time. So like, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with your career? Like, you've been the CEO of a thing, and you said before, I don't know what I'm doing, but you got to, like, when you close your eyes at night, don't you see yourself going somewhere? And
After this?
No. In life. Like, you could be the most successful Food52 CEO in the history of the world and like all this stuff, but that's not your life. Like, where are you going?
I think I will run this thing out. So we'll see. We'll run the Food52 playbook. We'll see how that goes. And I think after that, I know this is a lame answer. I'm really not sure. I don't have like a big grand plan. I like this idea of nobody cares. I think it's timely, and I think it's interesting, and I like the idea of a brand built around work. And so maybe would I go build my own after this?
Is that what you're doing with, like, just answering the questions?
Yeah, I'm keeping that piece alive.
All that's proof of concept for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting piece.
It's like a life raft.
Yeah.
Because who knows, I could screw this thing up and get fired.
Oh, you totally will. Like,
100%.
Right? Like either which
kind of
way.
mathematical certainty.
Yeah, like without. So now what? So now what?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the whole point. That's what I try to coach.
Yeah,
it's like, all right,
it's gonna happen.
You could screw up. You did.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So like, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Because it's already happened. It's in the future somewhere.
Yeah.
What are you going to do before you get there?
Exactly.
That makes yourself and everything else better. And I really think that's the power of that.
Yeah.
What's the most embarrassing thing to you, right?
Yeah.
And like, so people will laugh like, oh, I eat a hot dog on
LinkedIn or whatever.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Right? I eat a hot dog on TikTok. It's the only thing people responded to at first.
Yeah.
So we ate more hot dogs.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, oh, but you're a professor and you're this and you're that. Why are you doing this? And
you're like, why not?
You aren't getting views or you're not getting, and it's like, yeah, but I'm learning every day.
100%.
And so I think I'm embarrassed by having to video this. Okay. Now what? Now 100%. I'm going to video.
Yeah, 100%. Right? You got to get over it.
And so
the obstacle's the path.
When I read your book and I dig into it, that's where I get to is you're telling a lot of people, but I think you wrote a book that I wanted to write, but I said nobody will ever read it because they're kids and kids don't read anymore. Mm-hmm. But you're telling people, I feel like you're telling people, this is in David's words, do it.
Just do it. Mm-hmm.
The most simple thing.
So you look dumb eating a hot dog on a street corner with like two guys filming you. You probably do look dumb. You know what I mean? Who cares?
The lady at Glenwood Inn was like, are you having a midlife crisis?
And you're like, maybe.
I'm not, but thanks.
Yeah.
Like at least you care.
Who cares?
At least you cared to comment.
Yeah.
And so, I just think these skills, I'm roughly the same age as you, I think a little bit older. And like, I'm looking at it going, if I don't invest in this now, I'm dead.
Definitely.
So imagine if you're 22.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're afraid to do it.
That it's what's funny is that it's okay to look stupid if you just try something and you just keep at it. That's the whole thing. Like I do these stupid one-on-one videos. I'm like busy, I'm sweaty, I've got to bang out 30 of them in a row. But you know what? Like every time I do it, I learn something and I get a little bit better at it. Yeah. And you just got to keep doing it.
You want to play 2 minutes of roast me?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'm supposed to roast you with
You
something.
can roast me. Yeah, we'll see. He'll give you a card or something. So, all right. It's like, who here believes it's not cheating if it's on vacation, right? Like these are the games. So like you're roasting with your friends.
So you ask it and then we're supposed to raise our hands or talk about it?
And with the like 6 friends, basically.
Yeah. So like
usually alcohol involved.
So you ask me a thing and I'll tell you the person that comes to my mind.
Okay.
All right. So, cause we're not all friends. So like we don't know each other.
Okay, great. Okay.
So I'll tell you the person. And you can put whichever one, and I'll be honest. So,
okay.
And I'll get fired for this. So this is good.
Who here would find a way to tweet from jail?
We'll change up the front part. The person at UConn that would find a way to tweet for jail, right? Like, or Connecticut. I think, without a doubt, that would be. These are tough questions because like then they say to you, right? You're an idiot. So who would tweet from jail? Basically, it would be Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers would find a way to get into social media, like without a doubt.
Would.
She is so good at it. And like if life went terribly horrible, she would figure out a way to be the social media darling.
Those basketball girls are good at that. The basketball women.
They really are.
They are.
They've changed. And you got 2 minutes to catch a train. So
who here uses financial aid to fund their Friday nights out?
That was
at
me.
UConn.
That was me. Like, I still am paying loans from those trips to Montreal way back when I was in Boston.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I think it's awesome what you're doing, and I appreciate the time you're taking to share what you've learned.
I appreciate it. Thank you
really
so
cool
much.
Thing. All right.
Okay, goodbye.